Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Our host, Brian Duprey, is the world's most sought-after childcare coach, having helped tens of thousands of childcare owners from around the globe take their business to the next level. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, our host, Brian Duprey.
Hello, welcome to the Friday training podcast series of Childcare Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Duprey. So excited to be here today. And we're doing an 8-part series on the 8 pillars of leverage in your childcare business. So this is going to be a series, and you're on a different week every single week, and I'm going to be on, and Carol's going to be with me as well, talking about a different pillar of leverage. Now, what is leverage in your business? Leverage allows you to work a little bit of effort and get a lot of results. Sort of like a pulley, right? A pulley helps, one person be able to lift hundreds of pounds. That's what a pulley does. Well, leverage in your business is like a pulley, and a little bit of effort goes a long way, meaning that your business could run without you. One person could run 100 schools using leverage, but if you don't use leverage, one person could barely run one school, and a lot of you are struggling with that right now. So I hope you pay attention to these 8 weeks. Yes, this is repeated content. This is actually recorded aired previously. But the reason I'm doing that is sort of like people who read the same book twice. You try to get the information twice. Childcare is basics. There are basics to childcare, and childcare ownership is very important. But there's really 8 solid basics, which are the 8 pillars of leverage. If you just keep repeating those 8 things over and over again, you are going to make millions and millions of dollars just working on these 8 pillars. This is why I'm repeating this content, because it is the basics, but you have to master the basics. As Coach Lombardi said, you have to master the beginning. When he would walk into a locker room, and he was a football coach, he would always bring a football in and he'd say, "Gentlemen, this is a football," because he wanted to break training down to the basics. Football is tackling, throwing, and running, right? And it's just basics over and over and over again. People paid millions of dollars to do the basics over and over again and just be a little bit better at everybody else. Well, the same thing here. Our 8 pillars of leverage are our basics. So I don't care if you've heard this message 100 times, watch it again. Listen to these 8-week series, and then join us at the Childcare Genius Leverage Conference, September 28th to October 1st at the Iberostar Bavaro Resort in the Dominican Republic, where we're going to learn a whole bunch. The whole conference is focusing on all these 8 pillars of leverage. We're going to learn them all. We're going to have you really in a good financial position, a good marketing position, full enrollment with great culture, systems, operations. We're going to be covering it all there. We're done at 1 o'clock every day. We've got poolside coaching each and every day. It is an amazing experience. We got a money back guarantee. We got no done. We will help you with everything. Great speakers. Go to childcaregenius.com right now. Get your tickets if you don't have them, and go into the conference tab. Hit the Leverage Conference. We'll see you there. But I'm gonna sign off now, and I want you to listen to this awesome, amazing episode of Carol and I talking about one of the pillars of leverage in your childcare business. Enjoy. 8 pillars of leverage in your childcare business. Leadership is a big one. And it's something that, Carol and I are both military trained. We've both been through leadership training in the military, and military is all about leadership, hierarchy, chain of command. And that's where we learned it. Doesn't really transcend to childcare very well. I learned that the hard way. It doesn't work in a relationship very well either. Definitely find that out. But it's something that at least we had some training, and because they don't teach leadership in high school, we don't teach leadership in college in America, and it's just something that people, unless you've been trained or read stuff on or gone to courses, you're probably lacking in some of the areas of leadership in your business. And just because you own a childcare business doesn't mean you have any leadership skills whatsoever. And some people are born with good skills. People just follow them. And some people are very timid and they try to look for somebody else to be the leader, like their director. But keep in mind, their director has no leadership training either, more
And
than likely.
one thing we learned is some people can have all the leadership training and they're still not a leader.
Sure. You're a leader if you have people that follow you. Are you somebody in an emergency situation that people would follow you out of a burning building? You're a leader. If you're running and hiding during an emergency situation, they're probably not following you. They're probably hiding with you. So how you handle a crisis, it shows you how you are in leadership. I always would test my directors out in an emergency situation to know if they had the leadership ability to lead. And that's how you judge people, how they handle themselves in a crisis. Um, I'll give you an example here in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk about a book that I really enjoy. It's right here on my bookshelf, right behind me. But anyway, it's called High Road Leadership from John Maxwell. And that's the one I recommend. I just got done reading that one. And it's probably the best one I've read so far on leadership um, because it talks about taking the high road. And so many people today are what we call low road leaders, or they're taking the path of least resistance and just, they put other people down to make themselves feel good. Or there's not good people. And that's a lot of people today, or middle road leaders that have to even things out. You did something bad to me, I'm going to do something bad to you. And, you gave me a bad experience, so I'm going to I had a bad meal, I'm going to give you a bad review. That's a middle road leader. Like there has to be a tit for tat or a balancing act, and not realize that sometimes, people have a bad day. And, do I give a 1-star review because I had one bad meal at a place? When I had 19 good meals that I never wrote a 5-star review about, am I going to give a 1-star because I had one bad experience? That's a middle road leader trying to balance it out. I had a bad experience. I have to make somebody else suffer for my bad experience. That's the even world. It's a fairness thing. And a high road leader is always taking the high road and in looking to bring value to others in all situations. So I tend to want to always be that high road leader. Carol is too. We have that philosophy of childcare genius. We take the high road, and we always say good thing about other people, always saying good things about our competition, always saying things about other coaches, always positive. We always look for the best in each and every person and never say anything bad about anybody else. That's what high road leaders are. And we want you to be that way. And we know you'll love that book. So always lead by example. It's something we've always done. We're never too big to pick up a mop at our child care centers. We've done the maintenance in there.
Take out the trash,
Yes.
change the diapers. Well, you've never changed the diapers,
No,
but
I've had to empty the trash with dirty diapers in it. So my office, I would always clean my own office. I didn't expect my team members to clean their office because the team members would keep their own spaces clean, and I would keep mine. That's leadership by example. Imagine if I had wanted somebody cleaning my own office. That would tell me that I was too good for me to do it myself. That's not a good leader. But not only would I grab my own trash when I left, a lot of times the trash would be outside of the teachers' classrooms and they would get it on their way out. I would always go grab 2 or 3 other people's trash on the way out. And they always appreciated that I would help them when I would do that. Because I would expect them to do that if my trash was outside and they were on their way out. So that's, again, leadership by example. I always grabbed other people's trash. And another thing I always did was I always parked in the farthest parking spot every time I came to work. My teachers work hard. I want them to not have to, I want them to get the close parking spot. I don't,
easy to grab the trash because the dumpster was by the
I always park by the dumpster for that reason, right? But I wanted to park far away to show that I wasn't too good. Didn't put the owner spot as the closest spot in there. Like I was too good to park with the peons of my center. And I don't think but that would be that mentality. Like, no, I want to I want to have this, I want to suffer the most on a snowy day. I want to have the farthest walk because I'm not better than them. I want to be able to park at the farthest spot and not have that owner spot reserved for owners parking only. New. Again, leadership by example. Carol and I were in Jamaica 3 weeks ago for our conference. And on the third day of our conference, before I get started, I walked into the bathroom and somebody had mopped the floor. It was a marble floor, and I fell and I hit the deck, and my knee jammed into my ribs, and I broke a couple ribs. And I was in excruciating pain. This was at 8:30, and I'm supposed to speak at 9. And I crawled out of the bathroom because it was a wet floor, mind you. And one of the attendees grabbed me. He was a pastor, and he grabbed me and he helped me get into the foyer there. And I sat down, and I was, it knocked the wind out of me. And he prayed for me, and I said thank you very much. And he went into the conference, and my team member came out, and they're all around me. And whenever I break a bone, I have a bone condition. So whenever I break a bone, I immediately break into a fever and I start sweating. So I'm starting to sweat profusely, and I'm in the entranceway, and people are coming by. And April, one of my team members, and Nick, another one of my team members, they're fanning me with a fan. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, we're trying to go. I said, stop that. They said, why? I said, I don't want people to see you. They said, what do you mean? I said, if people see you, they're going to think that I am too good to fan myself. Like they're waiting for somebody to come and feed me grapes, that they're taking care of the grand master. Mm-hmm. I was so worried about perception, because that's what good leader is, somebody who, and I didn't want people to panic. So I could barely speak, but I said, listen, there's no reason to upset the conference attendees. I said, I will be okay. I just need a little bit of time. I've broken bones before. I know broken ribs, there's nothing you can do, but I'm going to need a minute to catch my breath, and I can't speak at 9. So I had Michael come over, and I said, Michael, I need to switch the order. I said, you need to go on first. Do not tell anybody I'm hurt. Show goes on, and immediately my team went into action. And I said, nobody's to know, because I didn't want anybody to worry about me and not have that conference experience. And you were right there.
Yep, April came and got me.
April, yeah, because you were getting my coffee.
And then she got our coffee because I was in line, but I didn't make it there.
She went and got me, because I wanted the iced coffee to cool me down. So I would overheated. I was in a lot of pain, and there's nothing to do for broken ribs. I've broken many. So, I refused medical treatment. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't get mad at the resort. It's high road leadership. Somebody mopped the floor. They didn't put the sign up, but that's not the resort's fault. Right? It's just somebody made a mistake. And I wasn't about to start blaming somebody, demanding things. I want a free. I'm not that. I'm a high road leader, because people make mistakes. I wasn't going to ruin somebody's day over that. Take the high road, and realize that, I was so thankful I didn't break my kneecap. I was so thankful I didn't break my femur, because I have brittle bone disease, so I could break bones easily. And I could have been severely hurt. I could have hit my cat on the counter on the way down. So I was thankful I didn't get seriously hurt. So I wasn't really worried about a couple broken ribs. Yeah, it's been painful. But I'm telling this story to show you is how you show up as a leader in a crisis determines how people will follow you. My team got so much respect for me for the way I handled that I know they would follow me anywhere. And that's just the way I am, because I'm concerned about them, but I love how they're concerned about me. But I let them know that the customer experience was more important. And I went on a cruise that night on a catamaran. That wasn't fun, because it was bouncing around with the waves, and did some dancing. It was painful dancing, but you know what? I always said regret's more painful. Regret is less painful. Pain is less, what does it say? Pain is temporary, regret is permanent. I didn't want to regret not having a good time with my people. We had 100 people on a catamaran, and they were there for a good time. And I just wanted to make sure let them know that I was okay. So I was dancing, and in a little bit of pain. Thankfully, I had a little bit of Tylenol to help me out. But anyway, that experience, and the next day I was able to speak all day, and I spoke for 3 hours that day, and just had to take breaks a little bit with the breath. And then I hurt myself again. People don't know, but I hurt myself again Thursday night. I missed a step in my room. The room had step, and I missed it. And I hurt my ribs even worse. And I couldn't lay down. I couldn't sleep that night. So I had to sleep sitting up. So we ended up going home early. But the conference was done, and we ended up going home. We lost a week's vacation out of it. But anyway, the point I want to get across is, how do you show up in a crisis situation at your childcare center? When there's a fire at your childcare center, not a literal fire. When there's a fire, do you show up with gasoline or do you show up with water? How do you show up in that crisis? Is how your team is going to show up in a crisis when you're not there. If something bad happens, a parent comes in unhappy, how you handle that situation is how your team's going to handle it when I'm not there. My team seeing me, how I handle that crisis, that's how I expect them to handle crises with our clients in the future. With calm, be a leader, bring water to a fire, don't put gasoline on it. And keep in mind, this is a learned skill. Your team will learn from you, and then your teachers will learn from the directors. Just don't be that kind of person that's always in that crisis. And just a reminder to always take the high road. Anything to say? Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, that is leadership in a nutshell. John Maxwell is a leadership. John Maxwell, Carol and I are both John Maxwell certified leadership coaches. We have several John Maxwell leadership coaches on our Childcare Genius University coaching team. So if you ever need help in leadership, you know where to go. Is check us out at Childcare Genius University. And anyway, we're going to move on now, and we're going to go to next week. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.